All right, so I want to discuss a topic that I had in our music theory discussion earlier today, and my new friend he was trying to figure out altered chords, and he was trying to understand why certain altered chords, for instance, a dominant seventh with a sharp nine, right? He was trying to figure out why it doesn't sound good in a major key, and I kind of told him right away, you have to understand there's no such thing as a major key. There's no such thing as a minor key. Those terms are so, academic, right? They don't exist. They don't have any concrete value other than this crazy temperament that we have tried to instill it, okay? Just like key signatures, there's not 12 notes in the octave. There's not 7 notes in the octave. There are 12 notes on the piano, okay? Because the piano, when it was invented, before the piano, there was no keys, right? Key signatures, okay? To kind of take a little sidestep, when the key was first invented, what came first, the lock or the key? Do you invent a lock or do you invent the key first, okay? Think about those two things, okay? The key only exists because we want to lock something in, and a lock has to be created before the key, okay? And whenever we relate key signatures to music, it's only something that really took concrete use when we created the keyboard, right? The piano. Okay, where we can put 12 fixed notes on there. Guitars, stringed instrument, lyres, other instruments, you don't have a fixed notes pattern, okay? The word keyboard is actually a very, very nasty word, okay? The word keyboard, when we're referring to piano, it's very similar when we're talking about a keyboard that we type on, right? And when the keyboard was invented, to type on, it was literally, you're not taking a letter and representing it. You're pushing a button to represent the letter, okay? That's very dangerous when it comes to music. If you can just go to an instrument, a keyboard, and press a button, right? You press a button and make a note, that removes you very, very, very far from the natural harmonics resonance of music, right? Of tones, of notes, of harmonic ratios, right? That's why the Greeks, when they were trying to form this idea of a key, a scale, right? They didn't have key signatures back then. They had scales, right? When they were trying to lock those things in, it was very contrived, okay? And key signatures only exist because of the keyboard, because of that set of keys that lock in our idea of 12, okay? Now 12 is to begin with, to organize notes, it makes sense. Before we had dollars, right? Coins, it was all in base 12, right? It was very easy. That's why we have 12 dozen eggs, right? That's why we have 12 inches in a foot, 12 hours in a day, right? Base 10 is very, very horrible when you don't have a world that is advanced in mathematics, right? Trying to break 10 into a third is extremely difficult, right? 10 is not divisible very evenly by many numbers. We're 12, right? You have lots of numbers that divide evenly into 12, into fourths, thirds, halves, right? So base 12 is very easy. You also think about the shape of 12, right? Just like a carton of eggs, it's very easy to have symmetry there. With 10, you can't put 10 dots in a row, 3 lines, you have a dot, 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 you can have an extra dot. Any way you try to organize 10, although it seems very even to us, it's not, okay? We never counted in 10. Everything was in 12, right? In base 12. I just fixed my exit. Dang it, now I'm going to be stuck in traffic. But, so anyways, so key signatures, they don't exist. only because of the keyboard, okay? And more importantly, major and minor scales don't exist, okay? You have to understand what the term major and minor mean. All they mean when we're talking about music is that means that they are not perfect, that they cannot easily break down the octave like a fifth and a fourth can invert into each other ad infinitum, and it'll always bring us back to the octave, okay? The third really has nothing to do, I'm sorry, a major and minor, the terminologies really have nothing to do with thirds. It's just because our tuning system and the use of 5-limit tonality allows us to think that simply, right? Okay, but there are other things than major thirds and minor thirds, okay? Once you get to the dominant 7, right? Once you get to the 7th note of the harmonic series, right? That note bends down 31 cents, right? 969 cents, okay? When that note, let's say we're using C as a fundamental, right? C up to that B flat is 969 cents, okay? When that B flat rolls around to the next octave, C, te, do, right? When it rolls around to the E again, right? C, mi, te. I can't sing the, so C, E, B flat, back up to E, right? Not only does the B flat from the lower note, right? From the 5th harmonic to the 7th, that is a different space than the B flat above, the B flat going to the E above. More importantly, the 7th harmonic to the 9th harmonic, the B flat to the D, it creates a new type of third called the septimal third, the septimal major third, right? So whereas the 5th harmonic creating the major third, it bends pitches away 13.75 cents flat, right? The golden ratio, 137.5 degrees, golden ratio, right? So a third takes us away from the octave. It creates a decis, it creates a gap, right? That's why we want to create the diatonic scale. Diatonic, tonic meaning stretch, right? To make tone, right? We're trying to get rid of that decis. We're trying to get rid of those 14 cents, okay? But when the 7th harmonic rolls around, it creates a new type of decis, a new space in which the octave does not come back to itself, right? It creates that 31 cents, which is a lot bigger than the 14 cents, okay? Those are major harmonic, septimal major thirds. Nothing to do with the third, but it is a third, okay? But it's not a third from the tonic, okay? And let's see, the last point, you know, that we really need to understand is that major and minor, they do not relate to C to E, C to E flat. No, it just means it's imperfect and it's the larger imperfect, right? That's where the word major comes from, the word magnus, right? And, you know, majesty and being great, being big, whereas minor is not that, okay? But the difference between, right, if you have a minor third and then you have a major third, right? So if you took the note C, E flat, E, if you stopped right in between the E flat and the E, is that major or minor? It's neutral, right? It's still a third. It's still that same space, you know. What subtract a major third from the space from the major third to the minor third, right? 316 cents up to 386 cents, right? Ooh, what is that in there? It's another decis, right? But furthermore, the third as major and minor, it means it's imperfect, unlike the 5th and the 4th and the 9th, right? So if you try to stack 3 major thirds on top of each other, you ain't gonna complete the octave, right? C, E, J sharp, I can't sing that note. C, E to G sharp, right? Say if you did stack those major thirds, right? The G sharp to the C is not gonna be the same size. You know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be a septimal interval, 435 cents, which I believe, is that the septimal major third? No. It might be actually, right? C, E, G sharp those are all even. When you go G sharp to C above that, you get a different interval. You don't just stack 3 major thirds and create an augmented triad. No, you're creating a septimal major third. That's what creates that dissonance. Not C, E, G sharp. It's the G sharp going to the C. This crazy ass note that we have in there. And again, we haven't even talked about the word sixth, right? A major or minor sixth, because they're not real. Even more, they don't exist. There's no sixth scale degree in our diatonic scale that we use in nature, right? There's a space there, right? It's not a number. It's 1 less than 7, right? 7 is 6 plus 1. That's all it is. There's no 6. 6 plus 1, right? 6 days of creation, 1 day of rest, right? You have the 6 directions: forward, back, left, right, up, down. What rests at the center? You do, because 6 is not a number per se, right? Just like a lot of the numbers that we use, like the number 11 and the number 12, they mean 1 more than 10, 1 less than 13. They don't actually hold value. They're not numbers. It's 1 more than the other, right? That's why when we get to 13, all of a sudden things change, right? 11, 12, 13, 14. These aren't numbers like in terms of how would you say it, a cardinal number or an ordinal number, right? They have space. They don't have value, right? Cardinal number is the actual number. Ordinal is the space between, but there's a big difference between 7 notes in a scale and 7 spaces in a scale. So anyways, I feel that this music discussion, man, it's kind of getting put away by everybody trying to advertise their own stuff in there. And I mean, some of it's good, but Jesus Christ, guys, like, hey, let's talk about music theory, Let me have a fight with old homeboy, man, the professor. He needs to yell at me some more. So anyways, cheers, enjoy. I'm gonna upload the video. Talk to you later. Bye. Subscribe to Mythical Music Mythology on YouTube. Guys, I'm really working on these, trying to get this podcast going, but it's, man, every time I get ready to add more content, I'm learning something else. I'm learning Photoshop now and editing and all this other stuff. I'm getting a new computer, and it's a lot of work. I see a lot of great music theory podcasts out there already. I got to at least step up there, I know I got content, but these guys, man, they put a lot of effort and they plan everything out. So we're gonna get there, though. Okay, I'm working on it, busy working too, and soon, my friends. Cheers.